I would say that I found emotion can be at times your best friend, and at times it can be your worst enemy. And, if we can recognize that, it makes a big difference in how we approach problems.
Hi, it's John Bernatovich, your host of the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome to Season 3. I've embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope of finding what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. On today's show, I'm super excited to have John Horn. John and I connected as he was reading one of Steve Brown's book and put a really awesome post out on LinkedIn. And I thought, you know what? Liked his first name. That's a bad dad joke. I apologize. But I also know if he's a friend of Steve's, he must be a really good, passionate human resource professional. So we started connecting and talking through LinkedIn. And lo and behold, here we are having John Horn on the HR Like a Boss podcast. Welcome, John, to the show.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Looking forward.
And I'm just curious, John, from your perspective, how would you describe the purpose of human resources?
Great question. And, I could get into the answers of all the transactional work that human resources does and how we support employees from pre-hire to post. But most importantly, I think the purpose of human resources is really there to support employees. I'm a huge believer in creating an environment where employees can bring their best selves to work. Work is a 40 plus hour commitment for people. And we want to make sure that on a weekly basis, a daily basis, they feel supported at work. They feel that they can be their best at work. They feel that they can come to work and do their very best to support the mission, support the people they work with, to support the goals. And our job as HR is to really foster that and to make sure that we are truly the heart of the organization and making sure that employees are able to not worry about what's happening. They just can focus on how am I doing my very best today.
And I'm curious from your perspective, the ability to support HR and how it can help managers and leaders become more effective at what they do.
Great question. What I find, and I think this is one of the biggest challenges that we have when we're in HR and we're dealing with managers and leaders, is that a lot of people get placed in these positions because of a specific skill set that they have. They're able to, in the case that of my work in homelessness, they're able to get people housed. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, that they have the skill set to be a manager. They have the skill set to be a leader. So HR's role beyond anything else is to provide training. I can't emphasize that enough, training to managers to help them to learn those skills, the emotional intelligence skills, the hard and the soft skills, everything related to being a good manager, because these are skills that a lot of people just do not have. And we need to help the manager pair what they're good at with strong management skills to create a truly full circle person that can support the employees and lead the employees and the organization where it needs to go.
Yeah, EQ is such an important part. I devoted an entire section of one of the chapters to that, and I've read a lot about it and studied it very, very vigorously on my end, because it goes pretty well with my background in working or playing golf, the ability to kind of harness your emotions in a wise way and not, in essence, over celebrate a great hole and overreact to a bad hole. And I have this belief, as you're dealing with issues with employees or challenges, it never is good to fight fire with fire. That ends up resolving, a shouting match never really gets anyone anywhere other than you get your whatever you have off your chest. But there's certainly a way of matching or mirroring that in a way that certainly can lead to greater outcomes, which is what we're trying to do. Like you said, support our employees as they're the heart of our organization and bringing them that. And
yeah, I would say that I found emotion can be at times your best friend, and at times it can be your worst enemy. And, if we can recognize that, it makes a big difference in how we approach problems.
Do you think that employee engagement really matters? And if so, how can we do something about it from an HR perspective?
Yeah, no, I think it matters 100%. And we see this with employees. I would say all of the employees where I work, they support the mission, they support ending homelessness, but do they support the organization's view of ending homelessness? That's the real key. And what we need are employees who are both in line with ending homelessness and in line with the mission of the organization and how we go about doing that. And when those are not in compatibility, then we start seeing employees who are not 100% engaged at work. They're not putting forth their best effort. They're constantly looking for what else is out there. What else can I do differently in another organization? And we see the effects of this in high turnover and a constant cycle of having to onboard new employees. And the greatest way that we can, really engage our workforce is by valuing our workforce, by listening to our workforce, by knowing what matters to our workforce, and not just expecting them to blindly follow the organization and mission, but to truly see what matters to you and how do we put what matters to you into practice here at our organization. And I'll give a great example of that. Our organization has really embraced diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this is something for the last 2 years that we have really strived for to improve at our place of business and to really help employees to feel 100% supported in all areas. And it's making a difference and making an impact. And we see engagement increasing as a result.
Tell me, John, how would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
Simply put, it's embracing the role of HR in the organization. It's embracing the ownership role of HR in the organization. It's making sure that HR is not just, hey, we're in this transactional work, we're going to support you with X, Y, and Z, but it's saying we are looking at this entire workforce that we have, and we want to make this workforce the very best it can be. We want to connect this workforce to our mission. We want to connect this workforce to our strategic vision, and we want to move forward and make this an organization where employees truly feel supported, can bring their best selves, and know that the work they're doing is really meeting the mission of the organization. And the best that we can do that, fantastic. It's just having that constant mindset that we are bigger than the transaction, bigger than the transactional. Not that that's unimportant, but we need to recognize our role supersedes that in HR.
Super great job, John. It was awesome. I really enjoyed having you on the show.
Thank you. Appreciated being here.
Thank you for listening to the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating or review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.